Welcome back to another episode of the DPT to CEO podcast, where we are talking with practice owners and business owners all across the country and hearing their stories. And like we were just talking about, all the sage advice that you have now, several months deep into this journey. For everybody listening, if you are a PT like myself and my special guest, and you are looking to start your own practice, and if you would like help along the way, we do have a business coaching program for people just like you called the DPT to CEO program, and you can find more information on that down in the description below. Without further ado, we have a special guest with us here today. Bree, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, I'm glad to be here.
Yay! I am so excited, Bree, to have you here because I feel like your journey has been like so transformative. At least like for me, like watching from the sidelines, like across the country, and seeing everything that you're doing. Like you've made so much progress, and like you've done so many amazing things. Like I always just think about, the first day that we ever talked to each other and like where you were at then compared to all the success that you're having now. It's so cool to see what can happen like in less than a year.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't even been a year yet.
No, absolutely not. And that's nuts.
Oh my gosh. Well, before I guess we dive too much into it, if you don't mind introducing yourself to our listeners, tell us a little bit more about you and what you're doing now.
Hi guys, my name is Bree. On Instagram, I'm Bree the DPT. I've been a physical therapist for almost 3 years now, and about a year and a half into like just practicing out of school, I decided that I wanted to start my own thing, obviously. And I started working with Morgan, and then a year later, I've been able to grow my practice. I'm not quite 100% there yet, but the growth that I've had in this last year, I've gone from 0 clients to like filling my schedule 50 to 75% of the time. So it's definitely a process. But I am based in Alabama, and where we recently got direct access. And that's really kind of like the catapult for why I decided to start my business. And the experience of making my own business and like doing all the steps along the way has been truly transformative, like Morgan just said. Going from somebody who I'm a super big introvert, and you wouldn't think that of me with my social media and like how I kind of talk to people, but like I really love that interpersonal relationship, and I'm not super great with big crowds. So the experience of going through the program and growing in that way, as well as learning how to manage my own business and the marketing thing, it's just been a complete like 180 as far as the things I thought I was capable of.
That's amazing. That's so cool. I'm gonna say that like a billion times this whole interview probably. Thank you so much for sharing that. And tell us a little bit more about the practice that you have, like what kind of patients you work with.
So I own a concierge physical therapy service. So basically I go to people's homes, I go to their gyms, wherever they want me to treat them, basically. I've treated people like at their workplace too. So all over the place is what I do. And I also mainly work with CrossFitters, power lifters, and high intensity athletes. That is my jam. Like I'm a CrossFitter, and I also used to be a gymnast. So I understand like the intensity and the specific needs of that population. And it brings my heart like so much joy being able to give those athletes what they need in order to continue performing and continue participating in that social environment that brings them so much joy. So that's really my niche is CrossFitters, powerlifters, high intensity athletes.
Cool. Awesome. And it sounds like, all like one-on-one services, and you do dry needling as well?
Yes, I do. Yeah, that's a super popular service. The things I do the most right now, so the one-on-one in-home concierge service. I also offer dry needling, and then I am starting to offer personal training PT combined. So they get like a once a month PT visit, and then they also get a personal training like schedule that I form for them based on their specific goals and their needs. So right now I've got a hockey player or a previous hockey player who wants to get back into playing hockey. And he's about halfway through right now, and he's doing great. I'm super excited about that. It's a fun thing I never thought I would get to do. And that's like my jam. Like I was the athlete that wasn't able to do exactly what I wanted to do, or was injured all the time. And so it really makes me happy to be able to give back to them in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like that's also like what I've always been super passionate too. And like my work as a PT is just like helping people like do their sport that they love
Mm-hmm.
to do, because it's so much more than like just being active, like just like fitness, but like for a lot of people, like us included, being an athlete is a huge part of your identity. And so being able to like help people like train
Yeah.
despite whatever they have going on, it's a huge thing to be able to offer your community.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've ever been injured before, because like, I mean, we're PTs. I feel like every PT's been injured. But
Yes.
like, if you're not able to be in your community, it's super isolating. Like, and that's
Mm-hmm.
just, it's so important to me to be able to give that to somebody, like to be able to help somebody reintegrate back in so that they can have their support system back. It's more
Yeah.
than just feeling better physically, it's also emotionally too.
Yeah. Absolutely. There's for everybody listening, you have a lot of value to offer. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Yeah. So, okay, cool. Well, thank you for giving us the context here, and what you've done. And one of my favorite things too about you, Bree, is at least like on the outside, it looks like to me now, like I think the past couple months compared to, back when we first got started, you're like very comfortable and confident in owning what it is that you do. And
Yeah.
that's like
Oh,
my
yeah.
favorite thing to see.
I didn't want to niche myself down at the beginning. I was so nervous about that. Oh,
Yeah, tell us more
absolutely.
about that experience, because I know a
Oh
lot of
God.
people feel the
Okay.
same.
I'm one of those people that want to do it all. Like I'm very type A, like I want to help everybody. And like just the experience of like talking to you and to Sam and then trying to figure out how to niche myself down enough without
Mhm.
feeling like I was excluding the people that I really wanted to help. It was
Yeah.
such an interesting thing. Like we started with like CrossFitters and busy adults. And I was like, that's probably too broad, even though that's really like the 30s to 50 age people that
Mhm.
are they're all busy adults. Like so it's like it was an interesting process in not only just trying to niche myself down, because it was more of a confidence thing, I think, for me,
Hmm.
because I didn't feel like I had the skills. And I do. I have the skills. I have to tell myself that every day. But it's that imposter syndrome that like gets under your skin and you're like, "Oh, you're not good enough." Like, what, you shouldn't niche yourself down like this. No one's going to be interested in you if you don't do all the things and market to everybody. But that's not right. That's not going to work. As
Yes.
soon as I started doing what you guys kind of instructed of me and like really specifically tailored my Instagram and my Facebook and like the message I was sending to people, even I got all kinds of people that I didn't even like market to. So it was like I was getting the people that I wanted, but I was also getting another group of people that I did want to help as well. So like I got a TMJ patient, like one of the
Cool.
first 5 patients that I had, and I was like, wow, I love TMJ, but I didn't ever think I was going to treat it with this niche. So it was just interesting to me that if you really let your passion show, like, because my real passion is with the CrossFit population and with
Yeah.
like the lifting population, that the people that even if they don't fall in that niche are so magnetized to that like passion that they want to work with you. And that part of it didn't really click until it was happening, and I was like, whoa. So that was very cool for me to see, because I want to do everything. I want to put my finger in every single pot and be the jack of all trades. But especially when you're building a business, it's not feasible. Like, and you have to
Mhm.
put the blinders on, like Morgan told me. Morgan told me to put the blinders on. It's true. Like you have to focus in. And that is like, if you don't have a singular like thing in mind, whether it's your niche or your goals or like your vision for your life, like you're just not going to go anywhere. You're going to wander aimlessly and your clients won't know what you want either. So I feel like that was one of the really large pieces of like building my confidence,
Mhm.
because it allowed me to like physically see like the passion that people had for me when I had that passion for my work and for the things that I
Yeah.
do myself. So it was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Oh my god. I feel like Bree, that's probably like the best speech on pick a frickin' niche that I've ever heard.
Oh,
Um,
good.
so I hope like anybody listening, like please go back and rewind that and like listen to it again and take notes, because it very like it truly it's the experience that like all of us go through in this process. You know, like you start a business and people are like, pick a niche, and you're
Yeah.
like, I know better. And then wouldn't you know it, like it actually ends up working out, you know, because you're exactly like right, like what people see when you like you pick a niche, like you pick a patient population or you pick a specific problem to help people with, they see, like you said, you know, like they see passion, they see
Mhm.
that you are invested in helping people, and then they can also see that you're able to provide like a transformation for your patients.
Yeah.
And you know, like you'll probably get inquiries, you know, and you can tell me, but I know I have, where people are like, I know that you work with CrossFit athletes. I'm not a CrossFit athlete. Like, can you still help me? And
Yeah.
then you say, yeah, sure can.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's great too. It's wonderful to still be able to work with all those people, but still like display your passion in such a way. So it's great.
Yeah. And I think like, you know, I love how you brought up the fact that like it really helped to build your confidence, you know, because I think like you put in the reps and like you can see yourself putting in the work, and like you it really helps you start to trust yourself in the process. But then externally, what I think it does too for like your marketing and your sales ability is that when people see you make a decision on who you're trying to work with, they see you being decisive and they identify you as being a leader and somebody that they can trust, because they see
Mhm.
that like you're trusting yourself, you're making decisions, and like you're being very assertive and taking initiative.
Mhm.
And that's what people want from their healthcare provider, you know, or the expert that they're hiring to help them,
Yeah.
you know, versus if you never make any decisions, all they're going to see is somebody who's indecisive.
Oh yeah. And especially like if you're, I mean, even with just like everyday marketing, like Colgate doesn't market that they're going to like make your eyes shine brighter. Like even
Mm-hmm.
though you're smiling, your eyes might shine a little brighter. Now they're marketing your teeth and they're getting straight to the point. So like I feel like that's completely true. So yeah.
Yeah, a little marketing masterclass here with Dr. Bree. It's so important. And so like I mean I'm definitely glad that, you know, you ended up like working on that and going down that path. And you know, like I always say, and I probably shared this with you too, Bree, like whatever you niche down to, it's not it's just for marketing, it's not your caseload, you know,
Mm,
like Bree has shared, you can work with whoever the heck you want. You know, like as
mhm.
long as you like them, the vibes are okay, you think you can help them, go for it.
Oh
Doesn't
yeah.
matter if they fit in your niche. If you don't pick a message to share externally, like with your community, people aren't going to understand what it is that you have to offer. And then they're not going to buy, which makes it really hard to grow.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, very good advice, Brie. So, we've talked a lot about the niching down being like one of, you know, one of the first big sort of like pivots or like evolutions, I think, in like starting your practice. But I guess maybe because I know we have some other things to get into as well, but I always like to revisit kind of like the feelings that you had, you know, when you were first like making the commitment to start your own practice and start your own business. Tell us a little bit more about like what really like sealed the deal for you and like making the decision for yourself. And I guess if you can like take us back down memory lane at the beginning, like how were you first feeling when you decided to start your own business?
Mm, you want the real answer?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there's
Anger.
no secrets here. You say anger?
Anger. Anger. I
Girl,
was
what?
mad. I was so mad at the PT world. Like
Mm,
I hated working in my regular outpatient job. Like I
yeah.
was mad at the way in which I was being forced to treat. Like I love my job. Like but the way in which I was treating more than one person at a time. And when I did travel, I was treating way more than two people at a time usually,
Mm-hmm.
and that is not ethical in my brain, and
Yeah.
it crushes my passion, and it's a disservice to the population if I'm being completely honest. So I was mad for one, and I was sad, and I was so sick of being in that setting.
Mm-hmm.
And so thinking about all of that, I was like, I don't want my life to look like this in 5 to 10 years. Like, I want to, and I don't have a family yet. Like, I had just me and my husband. I want to build a life where I can pick my kids up at school. I can drop them off in the morning and not have to worry about, I have to call PTO if my kid gets sick or like something like that. I want to create a life in which I can live it how I want to live it and not be dictated by a boss or someone else that can say yes or no on my PTO or my earned leave or whatever, because I want to be there for my family. Like my mom was a single mother and like cared for me and my sister by herself, and she worked a full-time job and I almost never got to see her. And I don't want that for my kids. Like, I want, when I have kids, for me and my husband to be there for them whenever they have soccer practice or gymnastics practice or whatever sport they like pick. But like that vision in my brain, like I close my eyes and I can vividly see what my future would look like, owning my own business, being able to determine how I use my time. And that vision in my brain is so powerful that it drove me with that anger in my, under my butt and that fire under my butt to like really start taking that idea seriously. And I started with the therapy business basics because I was like, okay, I'm a logical person. I need to make sure that this is something that looks good to me first. Like, I trust this program because I have a background in marketing and healthcare business. That was like my undergraduate degree. So I kind of had an understanding of like what it took to manage a company or like manage people, but I didn't know like all the other things in between because there's lots of little things. So I started with the therapy business basics, and it had a really nice structure to it. So I was like, okay, this is hitting all the major points that a business needs in order to thrive. And then I talked to you, and it was a very enlightening conversation, and you were able to kind of give me that reassurance I needed. And I was like, cool, I have leftover money in my education fund. Let's use it. So that was the end of it for me. Like, I had that vision in my brain, and I still have it. Like, anytime I have that self-doubt now, that's where I go back to. And I read one of the books that Sam actually recommended to me about manifestation and like giving yourself that like positive self-talk and things like that. And in that book, it did talk about visualization of your goals and like things that you want in life. And I didn't realize it until I was reading the book, and I was like, wow, I was doing that. Like back last year, I was doing that. So it was just such a powerful moment. It was like a storm of my emotions for what I was feeling in the moment and then what I wanted for myself in the future. And it was so powerful that it drove me to action. Like, I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about, oh, I'm going to do that tomorrow. Like, no, it was we're starting this right now. And I think that's one of the things that really tells you when you're ready for change is like, you're not going to wait for change. Like, change doesn't just happen to you. You make the change. And I've always been like a person that acts on things unless I'm just comfortable. If I'm happy with something, I'm just going to keep it going. But like, if someone asks me to do something, I'm going to go do it. Like, I'm not someone to just sit on the couch and do nothing. So like in that moment, it was the strongest desire I'd ever had in my life. And so it made it really easy to not even think about it. It was like, okay, I have the evidence I need. Cool, we're going for it. So thinking back on it, like that was really the core desire, was to change something for future me, because it's uncomfortable to start a business. It's hard and it's not easy. You're going to grind for a while. And that's definitely true, especially when you're talking to all kinds of people that you don't know and meeting with people that you're not sure if they're actually going to like you. Like, there's so many things that come into play there. But that one driving desire, when you close your eyes and you picture what you want for your life, is so powerful that it can help you overcome pretty much any fear or any doubt that your subconscious mind could ever come up with. Like, it's that powerful. And so like, I talked to like my sister-in-law and like family members and friends, and I'm like, they're like talking to me about all these things I struggle with. And I'm like, you just got to picture what you want, and you got to keep that close to your heart, and you will do way more than you ever thought you would. Because it's about what you want in life. So I wanted it, and so I was getting it. End of story.
I love that. And also, I'm so happy that I got a ticket to this motivational speech today, because like, this is just awesome. Yeah, and I mean, like, I feel like I relate to you a lot on that because I've always felt the same way about like anything that I want to do. Like, I'm just gonna do it, and like I'll figure it out as I go. And like you really do, I think, like you touched on so many great points. Like you have to make a decision because like nothing if you're like me and Bree, where like, like you are listening to this maybe like on your way to the clinic, on the way home from the hospital, and you're just like, this is the worst. And, like I've heard from a lot of people and how I used to be, where I would go to sleep on a work night and wake up and be like, I can't believe I have to go and do this again. Like if that is you, please know that like nothing is going to change unless something changes. And like the only entity that is going to make that happen is you. And it starts with a decision, and it's fueled by the vision, like Bree said, where like I think like you pointed out, thinking about like how do you want your life to look 5 to 10 years from now, at least to start off with. You can always think further than that, but you know, is it okay with you to be this miserable for the next decade? For all of us here, no. It just,
Yeah.
yeah. I felt so much the same. And like even now still, like it makes me so emotional to think about like, you're spit out of school, and I loved school. I thought
Mm.
like my program was awesome, and like you leave and you're so excited to help everybody. And for a lot of us, like we are put into staff PT positions where it ends up draining the life from you.
Oh yeah.
And like then the worst part is that like your patient care is compromised because you have nothing left to give. None of us deserve that.
We have so much more to give the world than I think anybody realizes. PTs are essential for every age of life, in my opinion, but we're more than just someone to help you fix your back pain. Like, we're here, like, honestly, we should get more like psychological training, like actual therapy training, because like
Yeah.
sometimes we're your confidant. Sometimes we're always cheering you on when you have your highs, and we're there for you when you have your lows. If you have a relationship like with a therapist, dear God, they're your best friends. Like
Yeah.
that's like we're here for you, like high and low. And that's the part of my job. Like, even though I'm an introvert, I love that part of my job. Like,
Yeah.
and that's kind of why I became a therapist in the first place. So
Mm-hmm.
to be able to like show people that that's what can be is amazing. I get people that come from outpatient facilities. They're like, oh my gosh, I took like 2 months to get better, and this only took like maybe 3 or 4 visits. And I'm like, well, when you get one-on-one care, for one, when your therapist actually has the mental capacity to help you instead of paying attention to 2 or more people at once, and when you invest yourself in your therapist, that is like gold. You've struck a gold mine right there. And that relationship will serve you for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So that honestly, sorry, you're getting me on my soapbox a little bit.
Yeah, please.
that is like my goal as a therapist. I want to be my patients' best friends. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I want them to be invested in me, and I want to be invested in them. And obviously there's that professionality line, but like I want them to tell me what's going on in their life, so I know, hey, maybe there's something going on that might be affecting their physical health, like all that kinds of stuff. So that's my 2 cents on, we have so much more to give the world than just our physical knowledge of the body.
Yeah. Like it really is like a lot of people want to offer like holistic services, and like it really can be.
Oh yeah.
Like we have so much like just base knowledge, and you can go in so many different directions with
Oh
all
yeah.
of it. And when you give yourself the opportunity to treat in the way that you want to treat, you can like fulfill like this, like you said, like desire internally, like to serve the world and make your community better in a way that you've always like known inside. But with the current opportunities, in different like companies or wherever, like you might just not have found an environment that allows for that. And so if you can't, make your own.
Oh yeah. Make your own.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love how like you had written down too, because I just love the drive that you have, and that I'm like, like we're cut from the same cloth, and then like you wrote down that finding your why leads to the how because the when is now.
Oh yeah. I did write that. So that kind of that's definitely more on the lines of like what I was talking about a minute ago, where like my why is because I want to live my life how I want to live it. And I have that very specific vision of like being there for my kids and like being able to cook them dinner and doing all these things. And that's my why. And the how was I have to do this in order to build that lifestyle, because outpatient PT is not how I'm going to get there. There's no feasible way that I could make a full salary and support my family with outpatient therapy and be able to be as involved in their lives as I want to be. And the when is now, because if I start in 5 years, I could already have kids in 5 years, and then it's 5 times harder. It's now, because now there's no better time than now. Everybody that you see on the internet, no one becomes like overnight, like no one posts their first post and is famous overnight. Like that does not happen. So everybody that you see on the internet or anybody that you see in their live, like just working, they've been working for that for a long time, no matter whether you see it or not. There's multiple people that I love on Instagram. And I was like, oh, they just like blew up overnight. No, they did not. I listened to some of their podcasts and they're like, oh, I've been posting for like 5 or 6 years. I'm like, what? It looks like you've been like doing this forever and you've been popular forever. Like it's just, it doesn't happen overnight. And if I waited 5 years to start, I would have regretted it. I would have lived in that outpatient hell, forgive me, for 5 more years and been miserable. Yeah. So act now. You have a dream, act now, because it's not going to happen in 5 years if you don't do it now. It takes a long time to build something, and patience is key for that too. That's another thing I have to remind myself of right now, is because I'm not where I want to be yet. And that's I'll probably never be where I want to be, because I'm going to keep putting the goal up and up. And up. But patience is so important. Like, yes, we want to be driven and we want to be going for our goals, and we're going to be a little upset when we don't get there sometimes. But like, you keep pushing, you just keep consistency, you'll get there. I have no doubt that you will find success in anything as long as you're persistent with something. And that's true for anything. Like when I was in undergrad, I was like, I don't know if I could do this. Like, school's hard. You just have to keep telling yourself, pass this one class, you'll get to the next step. Ace this one test, you'll get to the next step. Even if you don't get 100s on everything, you're going to do fine as long as you keep pursuing knowledge, keep pursuing that next step with that vision in mind in your head, and you will go so much farther than you could have ever imagined.
This is just the best, Bree. What'd you say?
I feel like I could do this forever. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. We'll sign you up for a whole series if you want. That's all the topics with Bree.
Yay!
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I feel like that's such like a good piece of advice to share, to point out a couple of things. Like one is that like if you make the decision today to start your own practice. And if you'd like help, you can sign up for the DPT to CEO program. But like, say you make the decision to start your own practice, you're signing up for several years, like in the making, like this is not going to be something where all of a sudden, like you've got clients out of your ears next week. Most likely, never say never, I guess, but like most likely, and even if you did, you've got so many like systems and things to build and like set up on the back end where like it's going to take a while. It's going to take years to get to at least like the first maybe like milestone for yourself. It's going to take a while to figure all of it out. And like that's just something to remember. And the only way that you're going to get there is by being super consistent, like Bree said, and taking small steps and breaking things down and doing stuff every day, every week, every month to get to your goals. And also what I love too, as you pointed out, like it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, like most of it's not going to be perfect. And that was something that I talked about in a video that I did on social media for people who are, worried about posting because it's not going to be perfect. And just like, yeah, it's probably going to be bad actually.
I feel like idiots sometimes. It's fun. Like all the time.
Like, join the club.
Oh my God. Just swallow it and you'll act like a doofus on camera. Everybody's going to love it.
Yeah, everybody will love it. Like the more imperfect, the better, in fact.
Yes.
And what'll happen too, because people worry about like making typos on stuff. People will comment that there's a typo, and then you'll get a bunch of more comments and a bunch of engagement.
Oh my God, yeah.
And a bunch of views. So don't even worry about it.
I had a typo in my bio, apparently, since I've made the bio. And my mother-in-law texted me, and she's like, "Hey, there's a typo in your bio." And I was like, "How long has that been there?" So I feel that. I feel that so hard.
Yeah. And it just, so like don't be scared. Like it happens to all of us. We make mistakes, and like, whenever you're listening to this, you can go back in the archives and look at my content and Bree's content and see like our first stuff that we ever posted. And this is still pretty low production, like low production quality. So like it's fine, because the main thing is that like you're putting yourself out there and you're creating opportunities to connect with people. And that's the main thing.
We're all human, and
Yeah.
everybody makes mistakes, and everybody loves those things.
Yeah.
So as long as you're doing something, you're making progress. So
yes, and that's really important to remember. Another topic that I wanted to talk about today with you, Bree, and like we touched on it a little bit, is like the manifestation and self-talk stuff, because I know like you and I have talked about it several times, and you and Sam have talked about it, and it's something that I feel like I didn't really start to make like part of my, I guess, like regular routines until like within the last year or so. But it has just like 10x the business.
yeah.
Like it has helped so much. So tell us more about like your experience with it, and like what advice you have to other business owners on it.
So I've been kind of doing like positive self-talk, like mantras or manifestation type things since I was like super young. Like the first one that I ever stuck with, and this one I still use sometimes too, is "Love and Be Loved," and that's from a Nat King Cole song actually, but which I love. So, but basically, it was love everyone around you, and you will also be loved. Like put that positive energy into the world, and you will be also loved back. And there's always going to be those people that don't love you, but like it's about that like positive attitude kind of thing. But that's where that all started. Like was like when I was super young, insecure all the time. We're all teenagers once. Basically, when I started my business, I was like, I think it was the first conversation we were having talking about like finances and stuff, like what my financial goals were. And I was like, this sounds something I'm going to have to repeat to myself over and over again. Like the goal that I have for myself financially, as far as like my income goals for the business. Never in my life had I ever thought I would make over $70,000 a year, ever. And so it was a serious brain block that I had to get past, because if I believe something, it's going to happen. If you believe that you will only ever make $70,000 a year, that's what will happen. You will physically block yourself mentally and physically from doing something. So, for example, the first few weeks that I worked with Morgan, and I had this belief in my brain, I was convincing myself that I was terrible at things. Like I was terrible at making sales, and I was terrible at doing Instagram and like things like that. After we had that conversation and I was starting to do these mantras every day, it's like, I am a business owner who makes X amount of money a year. That honestly started to change my thought process on things. It gave me the confidence and the drive to go out and put myself out there. And then the first event that I had, I ended up selling 50% of the people that came and saw me, which is amazing for the first time out. Like, and I didn't really realize that until like Morgan and Sam were like, "You did what?" I was like, I only sold 50. I was so upset too before they were like, "That's awesome. What are you talking about?" I was not happy. I was like, I didn't do very good. It was dramatic. That's what I am. So that really changed the game, was believing in myself, giving myself these sayings to say daily to myself that, one, reprogrammed my brain, and two, helped me grow my confidence. So since then, I've written myself some new ones. So I have them on my phone.
Yay.
And I like read them to myself every morning. Mm-hmm. And some of these are like, I still have I'm a business owner who makes X amount of money a year. That was the first one on there. But I also have affirmations for other things. So, like, there's one to help me kind of overcome my fear of asking people for things. So, like, people want to help me achieve my goals and will go out of their way to do so. I say that to myself every morning. So that when I go to ask somebody for something, so say I walk into a business and I'm like, hey, my name is Bree. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. I was wondering if I could talk to somebody about maybe doing a collaboration, or maybe I do a pop-up shop or something like that where I come and do like free screenings, or I do a dry needling day. It makes it a lot easier for me to go in there and think to myself, this person wants to help me.
Yeah.
And even if they tell me no, they still want the best for me.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to tell yourself that, because if you don't, no one else will.
Mm-hmm.
No one else is going to support you like that. No one else is going to tell you those specific words that you need to hear that will push you towards bettering yourself and bettering your business. Like, my husband loves me to death, but he doesn't know what my brain needs to hear in order to drive me to that next step. And then I also have ones for like my creativity and like building my family. So like, you want to create those very specific sayings to you that mean something to you and to your goals, that help you basically convince yourself to keep moving forward. For someone who's starting a business like myself, I think, oh, there was another one at the beginning. I wrote it. It's on my board back there. That's why I turned around to look. Is people, like, if you're starting a business and you're starting to sell things, it's very vulnerable to put yourself out there. And as a therapist, like I said earlier, we all just want human connection. We want approval of people, and that's just who we are as humans. So separating the sale from of a business sale from myself was really hard for me at the beginning. So on my board over there, it still says it because sometimes I still struggle with it, is people pay for themselves. People will pay any amount of money that you're asking, but they're not paying for you as a person. They're paying for the service. They're paying for the outcome. And that was another one of those things, especially as a new business owner, that I had to separate, because I was so nervous about asking people for money. And that also really helped as far as when I did that first event. I was like, kept telling myself that the whole day, because basically I felt like if I asked somebody for something and they didn't like me, they wouldn't say yes. And that's not true. They didn't want the service. They like you, because I still talk to all those people. I still talk to a lot of the people that turned me down, but they like me. They just don't want the service.
Yeah.
And that's fine, because then it just meant we weren't the right fit, or it just wasn't the right time. So having those mantras or those like words of affirmation for yourself is so important, because only you know the hype words that you need to like get you to the next step. And my husband loves me. I think I said this already. My husband loves me, but he is not my brain. And the only thing he can say is, you're doing a great job. I believe in you. Keep moving forward. And that's not always the most specific thing that I need to hear. And I know that's true as far for Morgan too, because when in our little group, she posted this huge long thing that she does every day. I'm like, wow, that's a lot, but for her, it works for her. Like, whatever works for you, where you can get that vision and that motivation and that drive for the day, do it. I don't care if it's going on a walk and just staring at the sky and saying, wow, look at all these possibilities. If that's what works for you, that's what works for you. It just works for me. So that's what I do every day.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Bree. Like, and thank you for, like being vulnerable and sharing like your personal affirmations with us too, because I know that that's like a little bit of a thing. Cause like when I did post that in the group, I was like, oh my God, they're reading my diary, but like, like it's fine. And, like you're going to get where you want to go by being open and vulnerable and everything too. But I think that's super helpful. Like you like provided a lot of like really practical advice today, like in this episode for people. And I know that's a question that I do get like sometimes about like affirmations, manifestations, is like, okay, like what do I say? And so I think all of these ideas are going to be really helpful to the people that are listening. this whole thing. Like, I just hope everybody listening, go back to the beginning and get a notebook and start taking notes and listen to it again, because Bree, I feel like you shared so much good advice, and I think we can both agree that we could talk all day and night about marketing tactics, right? Like we were talking about at the beginning, but like if your mind is not in the right place, it's going to be really hard to implement any of them and or stay consistent with
Yeah.
them. So all this mindset stuff is really helpful, and it's going to continue to be a thing forever in your life, even whether you're a business owner or not. Having these skills to talk to yourself, they're going to serve you in whatever capacity. So we're coming to the end of our episode today, but I guess like one question that I like to ask Bree, like if somebody is listening to this and they're really like on the fence about like whether they do want to make the decision to go all in and start their business, what is one piece of advice that you have for them?
I think one piece of advice, other than like, because a lot of these things that I'm talking about happened within your program, like within the DPT to CEO program. So I think that the biggest factor in success for me, at least, was finding that mentorship. Like, find somebody who's walked that road. I don't care whether it's a local business, a local PT business, or if it's someone in a different state or someone that you know personally, or finding somebody like Morgan and her team who's DPT to CEO. I think I told Morgan this when I first like talked to her, was that I need accountability. I need someone who knows all these things, because I don't know everything and I don't know what I don't know. And when Dr. Google isn't good enough,
Yeah.
because Dr. Google is not good enough 90% of the time, I need somebody who's walked this road. I need somebody who can answer my questions when I have things going haywire. I need the emotional and the mental support when I'm having self-doubt that I can't positive self-talk away, because there's definitely those days as a business owner when you had a bad day, or maybe you had every single person turn you down one day and you just are like, I'm not meant to do this. Like, you go to that mentor and you talk to them about it and they're like, okay, dust yourself off, pick yourself up again. We're doing this. You're going to keep going. And I think Morgan and Sam were definitely those people for me, because I don't think I would have been able to pick myself up a few times if it wasn't for them. Because things happen in life, whether it's with your business or whether it's outside of your business. Life comes at you full speed. And having that mentor there to help you and help pick you back up again sometimes is vital. And I know that there's all kinds of mentors for all kinds of things. Like, I have a PT practice mentor and I have a business mentor. Those two things in combination, if I'm feeling bad about myself as far as, oh, I'm not able to help this person, I go talk to my PT mentor. Oh, I'm having this business hiccup, let me go talk to this mentor. So having someone to talk to and having someone to bounce ideas off of and really process what you're doing with you is essential. So my number one advice would be to find a mentor, because they will be with you from the start until the end, as long as you keep your relationship with them. And it will help you flourish a lot quicker than if you didn't have one. So
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. And, like, we're so happy to have worked with you, Bree. But like, since I started too, like I've done a bunch of different coaching programs and still have a coach myself. And it's nice to not be alone, because
yeah,
when you start your own business, like it can be kind of isolating. And, like if you find somebody who you click with and who's done it before, it's going to make the process faster, more effective, and more enjoyable, which is what we want. We want to live a happy life. So with that, Bree, can you tell us if anybody wants to reach out to you and connect with you or come to see you for physical therapy, etc. services, where can they find you?
So I'm on Instagram at Bree, which is BRE, the DPT. And I'm also on Facebook at Rocket City Performance Therapy. And if you want to email me, you can email me at bguettler, which is my last name, Guettler, at rocketcityperformancetherapy.com.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I really love it. It was nice to
Yeah.
talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always good to get together. Okay. All right. Well, everybody listening, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will look forward to seeing you on the next episode.